were exposed to COVID-19 at a Nevada middle school. Our ABC affiliate in Reno right now is reporting that a parent knowingly sent their child into the classroom with COVID-19. The parent reportedly tested positive for the virus and knew their child had COVID 2 days before dropping them off for the first day of school. As a result, a number of students at Marcy Hers Middle School in Reno are now being forced to quarantine at home. Washoe County health officials told families if the child is not vaccinated, they need to quarantine for at least 8 days.
Our disease investigators are getting hung up on, they'll answer the phone and say, I'm not getting a vaccine. There's instances where there's just, some pent-up emotion and views on COVID-19 that are directed at our staff, and it's unfair. We're doing our jobs. We're trying to decrease the amount of transmission of COVID-19 in the community.
The school district won't say exactly how many children are affected by this, but did indicate the children will be able to continue their studies from home.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. There are important narratives to look at here. Obviously, I've covered this in the last couple of weeks, talking about how there's going to be events where people who don't have it go, thus contaminating others. There's going to be events in Florida. There's going to be events up the rectum. And as you see,
how can you weigh the truth of a statement unless it's made under oath?
use your brains. Here, and I don't know if I can show it to you on the screen. Let's start with this one, because this has a lot of underlying narratives in it. And that is this school where 80 students were potentially exposed to the you-know-what on the first day of class in Nevada after a parent sent their child to school despite both the parent and the child receiving a positive test. So let's also keep in mind, not only do they want to make sure everybody has the magic potion, but they're willing to settle for everybody taking that old Egyptian ritual up the nose as well. And this is just a case of that, where they said, look, you at least have to be tested in order to enter. This person tested and was positive and entered. Now, what's the underlying theme there? Well, it's this. As of right now, this is according to the health district, we are not seeking to invest our limited resources in bringing charges against the parents at this time. We are seeking cooperation from our community members. You can guarantee there will be. You can guarantee that there will be some story of some parent going after this parent and their family for being irresponsible. Everybody in the world, all the people who believe everything that's going on will be for it. We're seeing all of this stuff go down where everybody is turning on each other like never before. And it's only going to get worse. Now, one of the things, of course, they say here is they say the kids all have to be quarantined because of this unresponsible parent who didn't do this. So now that all these kids need to be quarantined, and the only ones that are allowed back in school are ones who have the magic potion. Now, with the magic potion, here's another thing that we have to discuss, because the push is here now for the youth. They are putting out story after story. You can see the repetition again and the pattern about how we need to get one approved or get one out there for the youth, so these parents who have done this to themselves can now pass it on to their children. Because this is a never-ending cycle, folks. This is not going anywhere. And part of the reason that I'm struggling right now is because I'm watching it. I'm seeing people in my own life go through it and give in, who are being told that they can't work. I see you guys commenting. It crushes me when I think about it, because we live in a world where people want to see, someone like me, for example, saying something negative about a certain community. They get, hey, take him off the internet. He should go to jail. He's trying to riot hate and all this stuff. And then they're all fine with somebody who doesn't want to put this in their body losing their job. Losing their job. That's their income. That's how they feed themselves and their family. How they home themselves. Are you joking me? And everybody's fine with it. And it's just like dominoes falling. One by one. Oh, can't work here, can't work here, can't work here. Now, obviously we knew this was coming. I talked about this part of the smoke out last year. It would be a process. You have to wait, give it time, frustrate enough people, make enough people turn on each other, come up with enough of the, the new variants of the variant. And it continues and continues, and it will. And a lot of it has to do with getting that in you for a certain reason. And it all ties into prophecy. But let me continue on here with this story, because that to me is just heartbreaking. I feel so bad for the children out there. I feel so bad. I seriously do. I'm not just saying that to try to sound nice. I literally, recently was out around people, just people watching, being near people, and I can't even be around people anymore because I see where it's going, and it's happened so quick, and it's just like the stuff with the mask has become so normalized, and I feel for the parents out there. I really do. And I know how much pressure you're under with all this, but you got to stay strong. You got to stay strong, and I'm not going to come on here and say whether this thing is a certain mark or not, but I think you know what this is headed towards, and I think you know what's inside of it. And all I can say is you got to stay strong in your will, because people are losing their will. People are fading, and I get it. Like, what are you going to do? How are you going to work? How are you going to pay your bills? It's unbelievable what we've allowed our government officials who are supposed to work for us to do, even though we know that they are selected officials and the people should be rising against it, but they're not, and they're not going to be, because now that the military is lined up and taken theirs, they'll be ready and easily under control. So that's where all that's leading. But let me just show you another story here from Florida. I like to call it Falsy Flaggy Florida. We'll call it Triple F. Where we had 4 teachers perish. 4 teachers. I don't think I'm going to put the article up for this, but 4 teachers, 3 of them did not receive a magic potion. 1 of them, they don't know. And I'm sure the names of these teachers are Joe, John, Jane Doe, and maybe George Glass. Right? Nobody seemed too emotional if you saw the news clip. Other teachers at the school. So what's the moral of the story? Well, the moral of the story is what you're going to start hearing happen with hospitals, schools, and the workplace. People are going there who don't have it, and because people who do have it are there, they're perishing. And you're going to go, huh? Because that's what you should say, because they should be fine and immune. But somehow they've convinced people, even with science, which they believe in, because this scientifically makes no sense, they've made up just a new rule in science, that people can now perish from having it because you don't have it, not because of the actual thing. And you're going to hear stories like this, because there's already small stories coming out. Peacock's got the new season of Yellowstone. Old scars, I won't betray you. New threats. Hospitals where doctors and nurses are quitting because they're mad that people are showing up there without it. So they're quitting because they don't want to be affected because selfish people are showing up there. That's the story. So that's going to lead to what? People like us not being able to access hospitals, which is another thing that's really tearing on my heartstrings. My health, not great. My family's health, not great. I have friends out there, their health, not great. I think about them, I worry about them. Are all of them strong enough not to take it? I'd like to think so. But still, I feel like everybody's feeling it right now. With this situation at this school, this is just nothing but Florida is that thing I told you about, right? It's that honeypot where people are heading there. They're not abiding by what Big Brother's telling them. So thus, there's going to be some big problems. Problem, reaction, solution. They need to show everyone out there, this is what happens when you don't listen to what we say, so bad things start to happen, right? Pretty easy story. Because if every single state obliges and people go, well, what if one state didn't? What if one state decided not to, and we all went there, and we all lived the way we wanted to? Well, they're trying to show you now. They're trying to say, oh, look, these people at the school, other people at the school didn't have it, so these people who had it perished because of these bad people, or people who don't have it perished because they didn't have it and they're around people who did. All of it's a giant hole. I mean, that's the real moral of the story, is that none of it makes any sense. But if you've been following my channel for years, you would know that this whole thing is psychological. This is a war on your mind. Thus a war on your flesh. But once they get your mind, they can convince you to put things in your flesh. Do things to your flesh. This is a scary time to be alive, to witness what people are doing and how people are acting. I know I've been talking about this stuff for a long time, and I've been prepared for it, but I don't think it really resonated with me until a couple of weeks ago, when I started seeing people close to me, doing this to themselves, and I started just seeing stuff in the world more and realizing this oppression is just going to get really bad, like in ways that we can't imagine. You have to be prepared for the worst. And I think I've always kind of prepared myself, I'll do this back. And I realized that it's going to be bad. And everybody needs to make sure they're right with God now. I'm not saying anything's happening tomorrow or next week. We know we're in the time period, but this oppression part is beginning right now, and it's only going to get worse. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and suddenly everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows. It's not going back. It's not. You've seen the videos for years that people have done on transhumanism. You've seen my videos that I've done on it. You've seen what I talked about lately with this specific chemical. It's not hard to see where this is leading, and it's really just more and more evident to me that this is it. This is it, and it's only going to get worse. And I'm not talking about, YouTube suppression. All my channels gone. Those are nothing compared to what's to come. Nothing. Financially for people, that's nothing. It's going to be a war on your mind like you've never felt. You have to stay strong in the Word. You just have to. I'm trying to just completely rid myself of the flesh. I know that sounds weird to say, but it's the truth of the matter. Now it's a matter of time, will, endurance. And I know people listen to this channel and they're like, oh yeah, it's strong. And I'm just like everybody else out there. I feel exactly what's going on. And for those of us who are followers and lovers of Jesus Christ, your soul should be feeling it. Because you're witnessing souls perish as we speak. We're witnessing parents doing this to their unknowing children. We're watching children have the right to make these decisions when they shouldn't have the right to, because they're persuaded by media manipulative Satanists. You gotta just keep everybody in prayer. All brothers and sisters in Christ need to stay praying for each other, whether you agree with the person or not, or you like the person or not. It's not the time for us to be sowing discord with each other. It is a time to be lifting each other up, because we're all feeling it, all of us. So what you're hearing here in these stories, again, is potential lawsuits for people who test positive and go places, and eventually that'll be people who refuse to get tested. Okay? That's what it will be. Refuse to get tested and go to these places because they want that swab up there too. Just like they want that magic potion. What do you think's on the tip of that swab? It ain't baby powder. It ain't Vaseline. Okay? You can figure it out. So while they start shutting people out of places, people are also going to be liable for crimes. Yes, it sounds insane, but this whole thing is insane, and they're making it up as they go for the most part, and people just are obliging to it. Then you're going to hear more stories like Florida, right? Oh, these horrible people. No, this is what happens when you don't have things set in place. This is what happens. This rebellious state tries to go against everything that our health advisors and science says. And then you have all this whole state getting locked down, this whole state being one big hot spot, breeding spot. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, it was all these Republicans fled down there because they thought it wasn't real. You'll hear story after story after story, and people eventually will get squished.
You have a mind, you have an emotion, you have a body, but all these things are functioning. All
And by that I mean they're eventually just going to give in. They're going to get it. Hopefully it's not people who follow this channel, but all I can do is tell you my opinion on it. You should know. If you're even weary about it, you shouldn't be saying yes. Because that's your soul telling you no. Be prepared for what's to come. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to try to have more uplifting videos. I talk more about some of these things that are going on. But I don't even know if I can do a video every day right now with how I feel. I'm going to try and do a couple each day. But I'm not in the greatest of places either because I'm mentally preparing myself, praying, mentally preparing myself for strength. And I thought I had the strength. Well, I have the strength to say no, but just thinking ahead, I'm trying to just stay day by day instead of thinking what's to come, because the more I think about what's to come, it's nothing but hardships. It's bleak. And I don't know what else to say other than that. I don't. I hope everyone out there is doing okay. Please, whatever you do not worry about me personally. This channel is not about me. It's never been about me. It's been about the content. I hope sometimes the videos will make you laugh. I hope sometimes you'll learn from the videos. I hope the videos have woken people up. Not going anywhere, I don't think. But just worry about your walk. Everybody. Now. That's an urgent message that I feel compelled to tell people. Don't get caught up in the world. You want to try to distract yourself with doing something like planting flowers? Go ahead. That's perfectly fine. But don't pretend like this isn't going down just to make yourself feel better. Because it is going down. And there's a lot of souls at stake. There's a lot of people that we know who are going to willingly take this mark at some point. And I'm not saying that this is it or is not it. I'm saying that we know that this is all tied in together. You can put one and one together. With the towers, with the graph, ... with controlling the mind, and eventually this being able to be a tag on you. That's where it's headed. At some point. So be prepared. I appreciate all you guys for being here. Please make sure you sub to my other channel if you want. To find me, I only have one right now, other channel that I'm using, so whatever at this point, you know. If I'm gone off here, I'm on the website, but, you know, I don't know what I'll do. I'll figure something out, I'm sure. But right now, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm good and that I'm strong enough to deal with the persecution that's to come. And I hope that everybody else out there is too. And we all should lean on each other now. The time to lean on each other. I thank you guys again. God bless you and your families.